Okay, this is an interesting experiment here. This is called the EPR experiment with Einstein. Right here they got two particles. And what they did, two entangled particles. They created two entangled particles. And what happened was these two particles are able to communicate instantaneously. They don't know how, but I think I figured it out. The way the experiment goes is like this. When this particle right here turns, let's say, clockwise, the particle over here instantaneously spins counterclockwise. So this one goes this way when this one goes clockwise at the same time, even though they're separated across the whole universe. So they call this reaction spooky actions at a distance. They can't figure out how on earth did they communicate so fast, yet they're set apart. Well, what's really occurring here, there's nothing really so spooky about it, since we have to realize that the particle is also a wave. And so what you really have in this case is this. If you have a wave here that's connected to the other particle across the universe, one particle equals one wave, and this other particle represents the other wave. So let's just say this guy represents this one, and this one represents this one. And then since they're entangled across the universe, what you do here is you entangle these waves together, and obviously that speaks for itself, right? Entangled particles, entangled waves, since a particle is a wave, and vice versa. So here you have two entangled waves, particle waves. A wave is a particle and a particle is a wave. So these entangled waves are entangled across the whole universe, from, let's say, the quantum level here to the classical level here, all across the whole universe. They don't understand how to communicate from one end to the other, and yet this one spins clockwise and this other one, its pair, spins counterclockwise at the same time. So here's your little mystery solved. Entangled particle waves, as the near particle wave moves clockwise, its counterpart, its particle on the other side, spins counterclockwise. You see that? Clockwise on this one over here, and the other side spins counterclockwise. See? Watch. This is clockwise, and the counter side is spinning counterclockwise. Alright, since everything vibrates, back and forth, up and down, up and down, up and down, in the small subatomic level. Even the mountains vibrate. Everything contains particles. So within the mountain you have the little action taking place, little vibrations. Everything vibrates, even the statues, buildings, the mountains, everything vibrates on it. You could hold a rock, pliers, this activity occurring without you even knowing. Everything vibrates. So here you have up and down here, and then this vibration creates waves as it goes up and down. Alright? So here you have this velocity, this vibration taking place. This is creating a positive, this is creating a negative. This is creating a positive, and this is creating a negative, since everything vibrates. As this goes up and it comes back down, it creates your positive and negative charges. As this creates your 0 point energy, you have to realize that it's using a dimensional grid. In order to create this movement, it requires a dimensional grid, an area, in order to create this movement. Velocity requires a dimensional grid. Even if it returns to its original position and moves away and comes back, it still requires an area in order to move. So it requires dimensions after the Big Bang occurred. Big Bang, here's your area, now I can move back and forth. Now, this movement creates a recycling process. And since motion creates information, this activity right here is creating information within the vibration. So there's information here being created. So as this goes up and down right here, this negative charge goes here and recycles, and this side comes up, comes back down. And this creates the conservation of energy. The recycling process here cannot take place until there's an area already set in place, a grid already set in place, in order for the vibration from here to here occurs. You see? This occurs here. As this positive and negative charge are created, it creates your waves. And as these waves create your electromagnetic field here, alright, with the positive and negative charges, it creates also information within the waves, a signal. Alright? Here you have your potential eternal point. This point exists, therefore this point has eternal potential information. Before the Big Bang, this is what existed. There was no dimensions, no motion, only an eternal potential point. This point is information. It also contains eternal potential time within this one particular point. This is before the expansion of the Big Bang. At the Big Bang, information moved right here and created a wave. Here you have information within forward time, relative time, being created, which began from this potential eternal state Information exists here. Expansion creates waves, frequencies, signals, information. Since waves are reversible, then it goes in reverse also, which proves that randomness does not exist, because randomness does not work in a reversed order. It's not reversible. Waves are reversible. It's not a random act. Since everything vibrates, everything contains waves. These waves are, in fact, what causes the forms, the physical forms of our universe. You have a up here, up and down movement, a vibration taking place. The wave is moving outward and inward. It's a vibration, and this vibration creates a recycling process. It goes up and it goes back down, and it recycles itself. It's a vibration. It creates positive charges on top, and it creates a negative charge at the bottom, a vibration. This creates your electromagnetic field. Oops. Alright. You have your negative. This motion, this vibration of up and down, up, this vibration creates your waves up and down from the nucleus outward. It starts from the center, the nucleus, and the vibration moves and causes these waves to exist. Information goes up, the Big Bang. Since it vibrates, it creates reversible waves. This creates a recycling process, conservation of energy. And before you get ahead and think that this is an eternal process, you have to realize that it all began from a potential state, because the waves are dimensional. The waves do not exist here, because the waves were created here at the Big Bang, because they are dimensional. Don't you forget that. That means that the waves are a byproduct. They cannot exist within a single point, since waves are dimensional. They utilize motion, and they also require relative time. This wave, for example, is information being created, a signal being transferred over, being created, because the vibration that began from here, this is a single point. This is not an eternal process, because it began from an open system, because the waves do not exist here. The waves emerged at the Big Bang. From here forward, they do not transcend backwards. The reversible process of waves only occurs only after the Big Bang.